Good morning, everybody. This is Damon Bond of Bond Realty Group, licensed real estate broker in the states of Connecticut and New York. Hope everybody's doing well. It is February 5th, 2018. It is a Monday, and hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a great weekend. If you watched the Super Bowl this past weekend, hope your team won, or, the Eagles won, if that's your team. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well. How is everybody doing? If you ever have any questions, you can always email me at dbond011@gmail.com. You can always give me a call or text, 203-394-8123. I will respond to you. Sometimes it takes me a little time because I'm, any day with work and what have you. All right, so let me just get right into the topic. Last time I said I was going to do another follow-up video. We talked about, tongue-tied, talked about single family versus condos. And I mentioned co-ops a little bit. So now today I want to talk about the difference between a condo and a co-op. Now, if you don't happen to live in the New York City area, you may not know what a co-op is, but of course, being that I'm licensed in the states of Connecticut and New York, my target group naturally is towards the people, this area, more or less. Now, co-ops are co-ops are quite interesting. In New York City alone, something like New York City, like 70% or 65%, some ridiculous high number of housing inventory and buildings are co-ops. I don't think they're building any more co-ops, so nowadays condos are the thing in many areas. But co-ops are something, something out of the old, and if you will, you don't see co-ops in too many other parts of the country. In Connecticut, there are some co-ops in certain areas. You got co-ops in Bridgeport, Norwalk, and Stamford, and I don't think you have any in Greenwich, but they're kind of limited. So let me just explain what a co-op is, and and we're going to compare condos versus co-ops. Like I said, for the people who live in the New York City area, within 60 miles of New York City, this really pertains to you. Now, with a co-op, you don't actually own your unit. You own a share of the unit. So basically, a co-op is short for cooperative, and people come together, right? The unit members come together, and they take care of the functioning of the building, what have you. So it's kind of like a stock, if you will. You can own, let's say, a stock in Coca-Cola. It doesn't mean you own Coca-Cola. You just have a piece of the stock. And the more stocks you have, the more say you have, or what have you. But, you can't call the CEO or anything like that, even though, legally speaking, you are a shareholder within the Coca-Cola Corporation. So you own a piece of the corporation. Well, co-ops are kind of similarly structured that way, So let's say there was a unit, for 5B. All right. You are a shareholder for that unit. You don't actually own it. You own a share. You have a stock venture in that particular unit, but you don't own a unit. With a condo, you own a unit. All right. So that's the first difference. The second difference is there's usually, in most cases, 98% of the cases, 98% of the time, you have to apply in order to live in a co-op. So let's say, you get you got your money together, and the money issue is a whole different thing compared to condos. So let's say you got your money together, right? Let's say there was a co-op that was on sale for, I'll just throw out a price, $200,000, right? And, you got your money together and everything's good. Your pre-qual's in, the bank's vetting you out, everything's good. You have to meet before the co-op board. And with the co-op board is this. Usually they charge you, and you have to fill out an application, have to pay a fee for that. The fee varies from association to association to association. You pay a fee, and then after you pay that fee, you have to meet with them, okay? And usually is the, president of the condo board and, the people, the secretary, the vice president, whoever it may be, a whole bunch of people. They're there, and they review your stuff. Now, I wish I had an example of this, but see if I give you an example real quick. But usually, most of the time, people will tell you to come prepared, have a binder, 3-inch ring binder you've seen, have a binder with all your financials in it. So yes, even though you gave this information to the bank, co-op boards can ask and demand to see that. So ideally, you want to have your tax returns in there, just like you do when you're applying for a mortgage. Same material, right? You want to have your paychecks, you want to have accounts and things, all those things. And the board can ask you any and everything. So let's say you work from home, right? They can ask you the nature of the work. Are you going to have people in and out of the building? What time do you usually cease working? What are your habits? What are your hobbies? They will vet you out. Particularly some of the more prestigious co-op, in buildings in New York City and Manhattan, they will vet you out. So they can do all that. So even though you're approved for your mortgage, right? Your mortgage is in place, you're approved with them, right? Even if you're a cash buyer, a co-op board can reject your application and you will not get that unit. All right, you won't get that unit at all. Now, what's the fascinating thing about co-op boards is this. Unlike credit, if you apply for credit, right? If you apply for a mortgage or, a car loan or, open up a new line of credit, and if you get rejected, they have to tell you, why you're getting rejected. They say, too many, derogatory, items in your credit report, balances are too high or things like that, right? And you get a free, you could get a, copy of your credit report and they give you the information and you can appeal it and all that. You can't do that with a co-op board. They don't have to give you a reason why. So hopefully they won't reject you because of language, race, ethnicity, religion, national origin, all that good stuff, right? But they do not have to give you any explanation of why they reject you. Now, it was funny because back in the 70s, the most infamous case of a person being rejected from buying a co-op, was Richard M. Nixon. That's right, the former president of the United States. After Watergate, he resigned from office. He lived in Manhattan, and he tried to purchase a co-op, right? Now, my man Nixon, being the former president of the United States, his money was good. That was no problem. But he went before the co-op board, right? And everybody knows, this is Richard Nixon. He's the president of the United States. And yes, they rejected the former president of the United States. They rejected him. They thought he was bad for the building. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just, well, maybe I am. But I just want to just to show you, right? If he could be rejected from the co-op board, you could be rejected. So it's kind of a nerve-wracking process. Will your attorney be there? I don't know. Usually the real estate agent is there, assists in the meeting, and a good real estate agent will know what to have before the co-op board, particularly if they dealt with this co-op board before, and that's what it is. Also, a point to note is this. With a co-op board, let's say, you got your mortgage or whatnot, and you're going to put, 10% down or whatever it is, or you're going to FHA, for example, with a condo or whatnot. Co-op boards can actually require their own minimum down payment. So let's say your money's good, you got your 10% you're going to put down, all right, or maybe even 20%. Co-op boards can ask you to put 50% down. All right, they can actually put 50, yes. If you can't put that 50% down, then you ain't getting no co-op. That's another difference. Also with a co-op, usually you have to get permission to do any changes or renovations in your apartment, in your particular unit, and you don't have with a condo. So let's review this. I wish I had a whiteboard over here. So let's review this, right? Condos versus co-op. Condos, no board approval is required. You don't have to meet with any board. Condos, no minimum down payment is required. None of that is required. All right? Condos, you could do whatever you want inside of your particular unit in most cases. You don't have to worry about that. Co-ops, usually they have their own minimum down payment requirement. You have to meet from the board. Application is needed, and you have to get permission to do anything in your unit. Okay, so pretty much those are the two fundamental differences. Now, just a word for my Connecticut people, right? In New York, like I said, co-ops are a dime a dozen. So pretty much every institution in New York City lends for co-ops in New York City. When you and the same thing in Westchester, right? People, they'll lend money for co-op, Westchester County. You buying the one in Nassau County, right? That's not a problem. When you go beyond that, right? Particularly here in Connecticut, like I said, co-ops are way in the minority. To my knowledge, right? I don't know if this is still true, but to my knowledge, at one point, only one bank in the whole entire state of Connecticut lend for co-ops. Only one. And I think that was the Bank of Newtown or Newtown Savings Bank or something like that. The only one that would lend money to purchase a co-op. Only one. No other places, that was the only one here in the state of Connecticut. Only one. So you can see they're not very popular up here. Also, I might add is this. With a co-op, usually your maintenance fees are higher. And that's because your property taxes are interwoven with your common charges. But the good news is with most co-ops is, particularly up here in Connecticut, is, usually your electricity and gas and everything is taken care of. The only thing you have to pay is, for lighting. So those are some of the fundamental differences. Now, the thing is you have to decide what's best for you. Some people live in co-ops and they love it. Some people live in co-ops and they hate it. Some people live in condos, they hate it. Some people live in single families, they love it or hate it. All depends on what you want to do. If you don't want to do a lot of yard work or worry about a roof or worry about, power washing the side every other year or, painting the house every other year, outside of the house, then you may want to do a condo, right? If you don't want to have to worry about neighbors or anything like that and, do what you want to do, maybe you want a single family house. If you, want to be able to, if you want to do what you want to do in your own unit, then perhaps a co-op isn't good for you. It's up to you to decide. That's all it is. But regardless, though, homeownership is great because, the property taxes write off and what have you. So I hope this was useful to you. So once again, if you have any questions, you always email me at dbond011@gmail.com. That's DBOND @011@gmail.com. You can always give me a call, 203-394-8123. You call or text. And if you like this, on Facebook, like it. Same thing with YouTube, like it. And I hope this was informative. Until next time, be well, stay safe, be warm, and be wise. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.